Great. Good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this special webinar celebrating Hour of Code with UBTECH Robotics. So really excited to see we have some people jumping in. I am joined today by my colleague, Christina Davis, who's going to be help monitoring some of the chat. So please, while I'm chatting and kind of moving through what we're going to do today, if you guys have any questions, you can always drop them into the chat box. Great. So while we are, let's go ahead and get started, I guess. Great. Excellent. So what we're going to do today is we are going to build a holiday theme party with uCode, our browser-based coding platform. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. We're going to get started. So kind of what we're going to do today is I am going to demonstrate a project that I built utilizing uCode. Then we're going to kind of start from the beginning, and I'm going to give you guys some of the tools necessary in order to build a project like this. So first, I want to demonstrate the project that I built to demonstrate or to show you guys some of the tools that you can utilize within uCode.
Hello. I'm setting up for my holiday party. My friends are coming over and we are going to open presents. Let's get this party started.
Hi, I'm Yanchi. I brought you a present, yuko.
Oh, thank you, Yanchi. It's a scarf. I love it.
Hi, I'm Alva. I brought you a present too, yuko.
Oh, thank you, Alpha. It's a scarf. I love it. Thanks for the scarves. Let's dance. Happy holidays.
I hope you guys are all dancing at home or in your classrooms. Great. So that's just a fun, quick example of how we can utilize programming and coding to create a fun, interactive animation here. So if you can see, this code does use quite a bit of different sequences, coding different sprites. And it may look slightly overwhelming when you look at it like this, but we're going to kind of start from the beginning. And I'm going to show you how you can start creating your own holiday party. So I do see Christina put in a PDF in the chat of some of the instructions. So this is what I'm going to walk you guys through. 4 basic elements, because once you're comfortable with these 4 easy basic elements, you should be able to create, what you just saw, or even more, to do, pretty much anything. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're gonna do, we're going to refresh this page. I'm actually gonna exit out of this project, and you guys can follow along with me as I start building some of these different sequences. So first thing we wanna do is we want to go to our URL, idena.ubtrobot.com. So I'm actually going to reference the instructions myself. So let me go ahead and pull that up on my other screen as well. So great. So once you first enter uCode, you'll see that you see this resource kind of pop-up page. This does have some sample codes. It does have a beginner course for everyone if you guys want to also start. Some of the elements that I'll touch on today are featured within this course. So feel free, if you guys are playing around, you can also visit here as well. We also feature some different sample codes But for this example here, we're going to go ahead and exit out of this environment or this pop-up page. So when you first move into uCode, you'll see we have a character here. This is Yuko the lion. This is our main sprite. And so sprites are the characters that we're going to be animating. And we're going to be animating Yuko within this window here. You can see I can kind of move him around this window. I can even move him off of or out of this window. You'll see this big empty space in the center. This is our main coding area. And so this is where we're going to build and assemble our different sequences. And on the left side of the screen, we have our different drawers, which contain our different blocks. And so all of these blocks can be pulled together to create our different sequences. So I'm going to kind of move you guys through these top drawers here to give you guys some of the tools to start building your own holiday party. Great. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to start positioning and moving our sprite. So we can change our sprite. Here we have Yuko, which is the default sprite, as I mentioned. But if we want to change and add different sprites, which you saw that I utilized 3 different sprites in that project. I used Alpha and Yanchi. So these are other robots from UBTECH. We can add, we can even upload our sprites. We can also choose different sprites. If you go down to the bottom here, this little icon, it looks like a lion. If you click on the magnifying glass, you'll see we can actually choose all of these different sprites. So once we start hovering over these sprites, you'll see they start animating on their own. This is because there are 2 different costumes joined together within this one sprite. And this is kind of what we're going to do first to start getting our different sprites to move. So I'll go ahead and also put Yyanchi walking, which is something that I featured within our my animation. So if I go ahead and select that, you'll see I have Yyanchi populated on the bottom and then Yuko over here. To make it easier for us to understand, I'm going to go ahead and rename this sprite to Yuko. And you'll see when I change it, he automatically changes. And you'll see these are different coding environments here, meaning that all of the blocks featured here will not necessarily appear on this tab either. So what we're going to do first, let's go ahead and I want to resize Yanchi. We're actually going to utilize Yanchi a little bit later. So I'm going to resize him to get him to about the right scale of Yuko. And then I'm going to hide Yanchi. And we're going to kind of forget about Yanchi for the time being. So you'll see here, Yanchi is set at the default size of 100. So he's full size here. If I go ahead and start changing this, let's just go ahead and say 60. And then he kind of shrinks down a little bit. So I could have him, I can make him, let's say 10 or so. And then he's tiny, but we wanted about the scale of Yanchi. So I think 60 is probably a nice one here. So I also want to hide Yanchi, and this means I'm not going to really deal with Yanchi right now. So first things first, let's go ahead and grab one of these event blocks. So this means this is the initiation blocks. You'll see these blocks will start our different sequences. So I'm going to go ahead and drag when the flag is clicked. So this is our flag right here. This means it's going to start the sequence. Then in our looks drawer, I'm going to go ahead and go down and find hide. So when the flag is clicked, Yanchi is going to hide. So Yanchi is going to disappear. And you'll see that way I just made Yanchi disappear. He's still there because we know he's there because this Yanchi icon is at the bottom, but he's not populated in our staging area. So this gives us the ability, we know he's there. He's just hiding, just like the block, signals here. So now let's go ahead and click on the Yuko icon here. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start to position Yuko where we want within the staging area. So if you see when I drag Yuko around the staging area, the X and Y axis starts to change. So it follows Yanchi, it follows Yuko around. So I put him here, he's at negative 35x negative 110 or 111y, and it kind of follows him around. So this happens the same way when I go to the motion drawer. And if you look at this X, go to X and Y block here, that's also going to change with Yanchi, or with Yuko, excuse me, as he moves around this different space. So I want him to first populate in a specific area. So I'm gonna go ahead and set him right in the center of this space. And so right here, if you see down here, it says he's at 6x and negative 13y. So let's go ahead and start building our sequence here. So first I'm going to grab that when the flag is clicked block here. And then I'm also going to grab that go to 6 and negative 4. So that means right when I start my sequence, when I start my animation, he is going to go to this specific area here. And I can move it. Look, I can move him here. But if I click him, he's going to go straight back to that area when I click that flag. Pretty cool, right? So I'm already beginning my my sequence here. And guys, also, of course, always feel free if you guys have any questions along the way, always, reach out. You guys can drop stuff into the chat. You guys can always, communicate with us here. So the next thing we want to do, I mentioned and I showed you guys that each of our sprites have different costumes. So these are different movements. So we can start to animate them relatively quickly by kind of moving back and forth between these different costumes. So if you forgot, which costumes this specific sprite has, you can also go to this tab right here next to code. You'll see under the main toolbar at the top, it says costume. And you'll see I have two different costumes here. I have one with Yanchi with his arm up and his eyes open, then also one with his eyes closed. You see his tail moves through these different costumes. So I can also change this. I'm not going to do this here, but if I wanted to animate or kind of illustrate this and flip this around, you definitely can. You can add all different elements. You can customize this any way you'd like. But for this instance, I'm going to rely on these two different costumes we already have. And I'm going to kind of switch back and forth between these two costumes. So go ahead and go to your looks drawer, and you'll see we have these different blocks here. Switch costume. So you'll see costume 1 and then costume 2. So, and this is something you can always do. You can always right click. If you're using a mouse, you can right click on the block and you can duplicate it. You can see I can duplicate, I can add comments, I can disable, delete, etc. I'm going to disable some blocks in a bit for demonstration purposes. So you'll be able to see that. So this block, the second block, I'm going to change to costume 2. However, we need to join these two blocks together with a control block. So basically we need to say that Yuko is going to first go to this specific XY axis. Then he's going to switch or remain at this specific costume. He's going to stay there for a specific amount of time. Let's just have him for 1 second. And then he's going to go to that second costume. So let's go ahead and try this. And you'll see, we have him blinking now. That's pretty cool, right? So you'll see he just blinks once and then he stops because it runs through this sequence and then it's going to stop. So say we wanted to continually have Yuko blink. What we could do there is add another control block called a loop. And this is where we can make Yuko blink a certain number of times, or we could have Yuko, blink for, just 3 or 4 times. We could set the amount of times we want Yuko to go. So just for this example, I'm going to have Yuko just blink forever. And so that means it's just going to continually stop until, or it's going to continually go until I set him to stop. So let's try this out. It looks like he's frozen a little bit. Let's try that again. Oh, whoops. Do you see my error? Did anybody catch that? I put the forever loop. I did not put this specific switch costume within the brackets here. I hope some of you guys caught that. So now you'll see he's going to start going back and forth, opening and closing his eyes. So he's going to first go to this XY axis. Then he's going to switch from costume to costume 1. Wait a second, switch to costume 2. Wait a second, and repeat forever until I stop. Pretty cool, right? So now you guys have, if you're following along, now you have an animated sprite. You have something going, back and forth, doing something, moving. Awesome. So if you guys are following along, I'd love to hear your enthusiasm. If you guys like what I'm doing, drop your comments into the chat box. So next, what we're going to do, now we have yuko moving. I also recommend you guys explore the blocks in the motion drawer. You can also have yuko glide. You can have him go to a random position. You can have him turn specific degrees. You can have yuko move all throughout this staging area. And you can set him to do all of that. Within my larger code, which I'll show you guys in a little bit, we do quite a bit of that. But for this example, I'm just going to have you guys just do this, what I'm doing right now. Great. So the next thing that we're going to do is, now that we have yuko, and excuse me, I'm going to pull up, let me see where we are on the activity sheet. The next thing that we're going to do is, now that we have yuko moving, or we know how to make yuko move, now we're going to have a yuko talk. And this is where it gets pretty fun as well, because we're going to have yuko talk in 2 different ways. We're going to have yuko talk within different chat boxes like you saw, so little pop-up bubbles. And we can also have him verbalize what he's going to say. So this is what I recommend. It's always helpful to do. You can always disable different blocks. So this means we built this sequence here that you guys have right here. But if I want to just focus on another sequence, I can right click and look, disable that top block. And that means that it's not going to run this sequence when I start building my next sequence. So this is really helpful when you want to focus on something specific. So let's go ahead and first grab another one of our when the green flag is clicked block. Then we're going to go ahead and go to our looks drawer and grab our say, in this instance, hello, for a specific amount of time. So let's go ahead and try this. If I click this, it just should say hello for 2 seconds and then stop. There we go. We got it. Pretty easy, right? So now we want yuko to, kind of expand on what he's saying. So again, we want to add one of those wait blocks here, and then add another say block. And we can say, I'm yuko. Whoops. Pretty simple, right? Nothing too crazy. We kind of learned these same concepts by building our other sequence. So you guys should be pretty comfortable in this space here. So now we want to kind of up the ante here, so to speak. And we are going to make yuko actually talk verbally, so actually say something. So here we're going to actually add an extension. So this is the first extension we're going to add, and this is another set of blocks in our drawers, or another drawer we're going to add to our different blocks here. So click that plus, and I'll do that again because I did that kind of quickly. If you'll see at the bottom of our drawer list, you have a plus symbol right here, and then these are all the extensions you guys can add. There's a lot of really fun stuff here. But for this example, we're going to utilize this text-to-speech drawer here. So you see it's currently disabled. So go ahead and click that button, and you'll see that it changes to enabled. Go back to your coding area, and you see we have 3 different blocks. So not too many blocks here, so nothing too crazy to work with. But now we can start dragging these blocks and start having some fun, and we can actually hear it here. So Again, we want to start with that flag, that initiation block. We're going to build our sequences separately just to make them, not to make them less confusing. And let's go ahead and mimic what we see here. So we'll do the same sequence here. And we'll have them say, I'm Yuko. So we can change the type of voice that Yuko is going to say: alto, tenor, squeak, giant, kitten. Kitten is a bunch of meows, which is a lot of fun. I can demo that for you guys in a moment, but let's go ahead and try this and see if this matches up.
Hello, I'm Yuko.
So did you guys notice that it didn't actually follow what it said up here? So this is where coding gets a lot of fun in my experience, because we want to try to sync this as closely as possible. So because we have 2 seconds here, it's going to populate 2 seconds, then it's going to wait a second, and then do another 2 seconds. It's not actually speaking to this sequence. The text-to-speech sequence is not speaking to the other sequence. So we want to try to calculate or mirror them as quickly as possible. So I'm actually going to change this wait to adjust to this block here. So we're going to actually set this at 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds here. And then this should try to mirror it pretty closely.
Hello, I'm Yuko.
That was pretty close, right? This is fun. So let's go ahead and put everything together. I'm going to enable this other sequence. So now we have 3 sequences running together.
Hello, I'm Yuko.
Cool, right? I hope you guys are liking this. I think this is a lot of fun here. So now what I want to do is let's actually have Yuko. Let's make another sequence just where Yuko is talking verbally. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and I'm going to duplicate this whole sequence here. And what we want to do here is I want Yuko to say something when I tell it to say something. And what I mean by that is I wanted to make it more interactive. And this is where we're going to be utilizing our sensing blocks. This is a lot of fun. So you'll see we have this block here that when spacebar is pressed. So when spacebar is pressed, I want Yuko to say, what do you guys want him to say? I'm learning to code. How about that? And you know what? We'll kind of move these off to the side. Let's delete these blocks. But however, you guys see this block doesn't really snap in anywhere, right? So we have to actually create a different control sequence of which it's going to all kind of work together. And the way we do that is by adding a conditional statement, we say in coding, which we call an if-then statement. So what we're going to do here, we're going to drag and drop this into this, just like that. And we build this sequence. So now let's go ahead and run this and see what happens.
Hello, I'm Yuko.
However, do you guys want to guess why it's not working? I'm hitting that spacebar. I bet somebody out there got it. So what happened here is there's no loop block in this sequence here. What's happening is it's running through this sequence, and because I didn't hit spacebar and I didn't tell it to repeat and be open, so to speak, it's going to just stop basically and not run. So the way we want to kind of keep that open, so to speak, we can add another forever loop around this sequence here. And now,
Hello,
at any time while running this
I'm
sequence,
Yuko.
you'll see now if I hit,
I'm learning to code.
and because it keeps running,
I'm learning to code.
and before I move on, I just want to show you guys And I'm gonna actually, I want to show you guys how you can have him talk in kitten, which is a lot of fun. So what I'll do is I'll disable these other blocks and I select kitten here. And I'm going to run this code and just listen.
Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow.
So I don't speak kitten. I have a cat, but I don't speak kitten. But I believe what he's saying is I'm learning to code. So we can assume that's what he's saying. Great. Excellent. So now we're going to kind of move on. I'm going to go back and enable these blocks. We're going to keep our sequences together. You see, we have 4 different sequences. You guys are moving along, making some really cool stuff. So now what we want to do is we want to change the background. So if you guys remember from my example, we had a really fun party background. So we have a bunch of backgrounds that you guys can utilize, or you can upload your own. So how are we going to add our different backgrounds? So if you go down to where it says choose your sprite, and right next to that, we have the same kind of icon where we can choose our own background. So go ahead and click that magnifying glass. And you'll see we have a bunch of really cool stuff that you guys can add. Again, you guys can add your own. You can upload, you can download, you can create your own. And just like with the sprites, you can totally customize this, make this your own. So let's go ahead and find that party atmosphere. Here we go. And you'll see very quickly, it just kind of appears right there. So do we want it to start there, or do we want it to kind of appear when we tell it to appear? For this example, I think we want it to appear. We want to control it, right? So the way we do that is by start utilizing your different, within your look drawer. You want to also utilize some of these different blocks here, which you can see switch backdrop to. And now you'll see it's populated with backdrop 1, which is your blank slate, your white background, and then you also have your party background. So I'll show you guys what we can do here. Again, we're going to build a separate sequence, keep all of these nice and neat, all together, but all separate as well. And you'll see now what we want to do is we want to time this as quickly or as best as we can. So what we're going to do is now we want yuko. If you remember, yuko starts here in the middle, and then in my program, he moves over here. So we can start building our own sequence that we can say, and look, we'll just duplicate this. And now we can say switch to this party backdrop. But we want yuko to kind of go through these different, we want him to, talk. We want him to, greet everybody. So say, hi, I'm yuko. Then we want yuko to move over here, right? So let's put that in here as well. So let's have a go-to. And let's find where yuko wants to go. So let's say there. So you'll see I can also copy and paste these coordinates here. So I'm just going to highlight it. You'll see they're pretty long, but we're not typing this out. Again, let's go ahead and disable these blocks. And so let's try to time this a little bit more, or a little more accurately. So to go through this different statement here, hello for 2 seconds. Then he's going to wait for 1 second. He's going to say, I'm yuko for 2 seconds. So if we add that up, that's 5 seconds. So basically, let's go ahead and put 5 seconds here. So what should happen, and let's enable this block, is now when I hit that green flag, when I hit that flag button, yuko should say hello for 2 seconds. He should wait a second. Then he should say, I'm yuko for 2 seconds. Then we should, that'll be 5 seconds. So then yuko should transition to this new location, and we should switch the background. So let's go ahead and try this. Actually, we need to have this block also initiated as well, enabled. Here we go. And look, so what did I do wrong here? So I copied the wrong placement, right? 184, yep, look at that. So this is why you always want to test things out as much as you can. So let's go back here and let's use this block. Do you guys see what I did? Pretty quick, right? Maybe too quick. We want to make it a little bit smoother here. How do you guys think we can make it smoother? Anyone at all? Maybe we add another second here. Okay, let's try that. Okay, that's a little better, right? A little better. But if you guys remember, I had that nice music that syncs right with the changing of the background. So this is where we can also add in some really fun elements here, where we're going to add some fun music. So this is kind of the next layer of what you guys have in the worksheet. And let me go ahead and move that block. Again, you can always clean up your coding space by dragging blocks into the trash can here, or always right-clicking them and deleting them. Great. So the next element that I'm going to show you guys is how you can add sounds and music. So if you look at the top, underneath the main navigation toolbar, you have code, costumes, and sounds. If you click on that sounds tab, this is where you can add and populate and build your different sounds, songs, etc. You can actually record your own voice if you'd like. You can upload your own sound, or you could choose the different sounds that we have here. So if you'll see, I started kind of putting my cursor over here. There are a lot of sounds to choose from here. So let's see, the one that I like to play with, because it's chill, just like it sounds. Here's a chill one. Let's find that dance one. Here we go. Dance, chill out. That's my song right there. So go ahead and select that. If you guys are very musical, you can really alter this, slow it down, make it louder, do all different types of things with it if you like. I'm not the most musical person, so I wouldn't really know what to do here. So I just know how to put it into different sequences. So now we go back to our code area, and we want to start populating and play our different sounds. So we have our own drawer dedicated to sounds. So you'll see you can play sound until done. You can start sound, you can stop sound, you can change the pitch, etc. So again, let's go ahead and build our own sequence here, a new sequence. Keep everything nice and clean. And you'll see if I just click this, it's going to play that song until it's done and then stop. So let's go ahead and also time it right with the changing of the background. So the way that we can do that is we're going to wait 6 seconds, matching the 6 seconds over here. However, we want to continually play this song, right? So then we want to add that forever loop right around there. And I'm actually going to clean this up a little bit for animating yuko over here. Whoops. I'm going to actually set him just to repeat this costume change, let's say just 3 times. So let's go ahead and try all of this out together. right?
Hello.
Meow meow. Meow 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 meow.
So you guys saw, I forgot to change the kitten. So let's go ahead and start that again. But pretty good timing, right? With the music.
Hello. I'm Yuko.
Cool, right? So once you guys have just these 4 elements, and I'll kind of repeat what we're doing here, and then we're going to start playing with Yanchi. Then I'm going to kind of turn it over to you guys to start building your own animation holiday party. But to kind of summarize what we did here, first, we learned how to make a sprite move. So we really focused on these different motion blocks. So how we can build a sequence to have yuko go to a specific area, and also to animate by switching between the different costumes that we have access to. From there, we learned how to make Yanchi talk by adding different, or how to communicate by adding different text bubbles, as well as speaking verbally, utilizing the text-to-speech extension. We also employed a conditional statement sequence, where we were able to add our sensing blocks to have yuko talk, or say something when we tell it to say something. We also learned how to switch the background and learned how to time it specifically with yuko moving. And we also integrated some different sounds, so a specific song, and learned how to play that at a specific time to kind of sequence everything together. So the last piece that I wanted to play with here is we're going to have Yanchi start appearing and interacting. So what I want you guys to pay really close attention to here, this will save you a ton of time. So in coding, once we create something, we want to minimize the amount of time across our next sequences. What I mean by that is it's okay to start copying sequences. So because we just built this sequence here, all of these different sequences, we can apply these directly to Yanchi. So what we can do here is, you'll see, it looks like we're dragging it over, but if we drag it over and put it into this Yanchi folder, it appears back here. What we did is we just populated it within this space here. So, and what we can do here is start having Yanchi. Look at this. So we just saved ourselves a ton of work here. However, we can't see Yanchi, right? Because he's still hidden. So what we want to do here is, let's go ahead and show Yanchi. Actually, maybe I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Let's start building out the sequences we want to build. So we want Yanchi to talk at a specific time. Let's have Yanchi, let's build a one sequence utilizing what we just learned, where Yanchi is going to say something specifically to yuko. So you'll see here. So what I can do, let's go ahead and put this here and say, in the looks drawer, let's go ahead and find this show block. So you see the opposite of hide. So when we hit that flag, Yanchi is going to hide, right? Or yeah, he's going to hide. So he's going to be non-visible. However, if we want to show Yanchi, we can say, if let's have a letter associated. Let's say Y. Yanchi starts with Y. So when we press Y, Yanchi is going to say, "Hi, let's make it a little fun here. Let's wait a second. And then let's say, what should he say? Let's say he says, whoops. I'm ready to party. And so what we can also do, let's duplicate this whole sensing sequence and we can put it, whoops, we can pull this out of here and put this in here. Do you guys see what I'm doing here? And then we don't know where Yanchi's gonna go right now, do we? We can also, what do you think Yanchi sounds like? Yanchi probably sounds like a giant, right? So let's just go ahead and test this out. We are going to disable these blocks. That one we don't have to disable. And then
Hi, I'm Yanchi. I'm ready to party.
that's pretty funny. Here, let's move this after he says, or actually, where is Yanchi gonna go? Let's have him go right here. Let's move this. And then we need that. Can you guys, anyone catch my error here? Within the costume change here, we don't have a loop block. So let's go ahead and repeat this whole sequence right here. Let's do that forever as well. Let's just have him for this example.
I'm learning to code.
Oops.
I'm learning to code.
Oh, and I didn't disable the right one. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Yanchi. I'm ready to party.
Okay. Kind of a funny animation here. So let's put this all together. I'm going to enable everything. And then I want you guys to tell me what you think about this little sequence that we made together. And then what we're going to do is we're going to look at the whole sequence back together. And we're going to kind of analyze what we did. So let's go ahead and full screen. Also something you guys can do. You can always full screen so you guys can get a full image of what you built.
Hello. I'm Yuko.
Let's hear the music a little bit, right?
I'm learning to code.
And then Yanchi.
Hi, I'm Yanchi. I'm ready to party.
Can you guys see what we're doing here? Is this cool? Okay, awesome. So great. So now you guys have those building blocks of what to do. Let's go ahead and look at the whole sequence together that I built. And I want you guys to think about these different elements. Let me pull it up. Here we go. You know what I'm going to do here? Let's minimize this. Whoops. So you guys can see, we didn't do anything. This code that I showed you earlier looks kind of intense, right? There's a lot going on here. But this is the same elements that I just showed you guys. Those same 4 elements are applied to all of these different sprites here. What I did is I just added different sprites. I worked out my timing in my sequences. And I had my different sprites communicate with one another. So let's go ahead and run this whole code, and you guys can kind of see what we're working with here as we're interacting with it.
Hello. I'm setting up for my holiday party. My friends are coming over and we are going to open presents. Let's get this party started.
And then you'll see if I'm on the Yanchi tab, when I hit Y, Yanchi is going to appear. And then I'm also, during that time, Yuko is going to move once Yanchi opens the present. So let me hit that
Hi,
Y.
I'm Yanchi. I brought you a present, Yuko.
We had this present appear also on the same sensing block as when Yanchi appears. And then what we're going to have when I hit U, another sensing block. Let's find it. We're going to have Yuko move the same time that we're having this scarf
Thank you, Yyanchi.
glide over to
It's a scarf. I love it.
Now we have Alpha
Hi, I'm
appearing.
Alpha. I brought you a present too, Yuko.
Oh, thank you, Alpha.
And can you guys see that's my
It's a
big joke?
scarf.
They both got him
I love
scarves, which I thought is kind of funny, right? Hopefully you guys think it's funny. And then lastly, everyone, when I hit that P button, we're going to start animating our costumes. You'll see here, everyone says happy holidays. These presents disappear
Thanks for the scarves. Let's dance.
and they dance. If I had more time, maybe we'd work on those dance
Happy
moves.
holidays.
I hope you guys are grooving.
Happy
Happy
holidays.
holidays.
Cool. All right. Awesome, everyone. So that is all the time. That's everything we planned today. I hope you guys had, learned a lot, learned how you can build your own holiday party animation sequence or your own sequence to get started with uCode. Really, there's no limitations to what you can do. It's a lot of fun. Just start experimenting, start playing with it. The more that you play, the better you'll get, obviously. And then we also want to see your programs. So if you guys also at the bottom of the worksheet, we have a way that you guys can share your projects directly with us. So throughout this week, I would love if you guys start creating your own programs and then share them with us, and we'll share them with the world, and people can see what you guys are working on. So if you guys have any questions, feel free. I can hang out for a couple moments. Feel free to drop them in the chat. But otherwise, this does conclude our session today. So I really appreciate everybody taking the time to join. And from all of us at UBTECH, happy holidays and happy hour of code in CS week. You're welcome. All right. Thanks, everyone.